Well, everybody, it's been about a month and a half since I started it on this big long project, and I'm getting ready to wrap it all up. We have just a few final touches to do. The first final touch is the Get Avatar button is not really doing anything, nor is the Save Avatar. The Clear button is, but that's about it. So if I were to click here and click the Clear button, it goes away. If I were going to put a name in here and then click Get Avatar, nothing happens. But if I have text and I click on the icons, we are getting that with the new code. So we need to get the Get Avatar button to work, and if I change the name here, I can't click it. So we're going to definitely want that. Now, the other thing I want to do is save the avatar. So it's really just two final things. The other thing I just want to mention is that you may decide that there's some other, the functionality doesn't seem right. I'm going to end with just hitting those two buttons, but you do want to have people test out your app and see what they think and see what works well and what doesn't and refine that. At least I can say that I could have someone test this, and if there's something that didn't seem right or they wanted to work on, I could get that fixed. So I'm going to go ahead and finalize the Getting Avatar button and the Save button. Let's start with the Get Avatar button because that should be the simplest to do. It's definitely the simplest because we already have a function that gets the avatar. And so the one thing we have to do is make sure the Get Avatar button actually uses that. So let's go ahead and do our Get Avatar button and code it. Here's where we got it. And then I'm just going to add a little comment here. Get Avatar button. And look at that. We have it here. All we have to do now is attach that slot there. So it's Get Avatar, celled. Get Avatar button. Dot clicked. Dot connect. Self dot get avatar. Let's run it, see if it works. I have to close this. And let's do ASDF. Yep, it worked. Great. Get avatar. No big deal. All right, so once you have an avatar you like and you want to save it, we need to go ahead and tell what that save button is going to do. So we're going to want to basically, at this point, we already have the code that we've captured, and all we have to do now is use that code to save it to a file. And so for that, let's take a look at what we have on PyQt6. I'm going to go ahead and create our save avatar. Oh, I didn't like that. Too many blank lines. Set font so it'd happen right about here. And let's go ahead and do this in fast motion. Why not? Okay, that looked a lot easier than it was the first time. The first time I did a lot of research to get it figured out, but now we got it. And it took a lot of trial and error, so you get to see the fruit of my labor. So we have to, of course, connect the Save Avatar button to a method that will save it. So I started by creating the method first, then I added the connect at the end. Let's walk it through. First of all, before we can do it, we are using the QFileDialog to create, to be able to create that file widget that allows us to write it. Okay, thank you Python for making this so much easier for me. So we're looking for the Save Avatar code. And as you can see here, we give it a name, variable. And we create this QFileDialog. Now there's the self. Okay, so we have the save file, and then my avatar is the name of it, and then we have the prompt. And let's go ahead and run it so you can see what that looks like. I'm going to run it in yeah, sure, why not? I'm going to run it in debug mode. And so I'm just going to start by trying to save this avatar. Okay. All right, so here we go. And let me just go to the next step. And what that does is it opens the file widget. I think I have to go another step here. There. Okay, so immediately it opens up the save file icon. You see that there? Great. So we have this file name, and we can give it any name we want. We want to keep it SVG. Did you see the save as file type? So that was one of the arguments there. So let's actually drag this over here, click on the code. Can I just get that widget open? I think I have to open it all. So let me just move this. Oh, I can't. Dang. All right. Well, okay. I'm just going to click save. And you can kind of see it. Now I'm going to go back to the code. Okay, so we have the name, and if you hover over name, it's a tuple. So if I click on here, it's got two items. The first item is the full path. The second item is that prompt, which is the file type. So when we create that name, we create a tuple. So that's what the QFileDialog does, but it opens up the system's file dialog, and so it does some stuff behind when it does the save file name. So we give the save file because I think there's other dialogues we can do, like open file or something, I'm not sure. And then the name, this is just the root name it gives, so you can always change it, no big deal. And then that's the prompt to what kind of file it is. And then, so we go over here to file, and we're going to open name 0, which will be the full file path. And then once we do that, it opens it. And we're doing a little thing where once we open a file, it is available for us to read. So we're going to grab the code. If you saw, I needed to add the self dot in front of the avatar SVG, and I needed to create it up here, set default avatar. So I changed it in here, which meant I had to change it here. Now there's going to be a little bit of confusion, and that's because there is an avatar underscore SVG up here that doesn't have a self in front of it. And so I forget where that was. It was somewhere in there. So we may have to go in and change that later, but let's go to the next step here. Okay, so we take the code. Now the code is now stored. So that's the code, which was the string, which is the self.avatar SVG that keeps popping open. So now we're going to write to the file that we now have open. And once we write it, that's going to put the code inside. Let's see if we can see that my avatar. And you can see it's right there. Being generated, but it's not yet, so it's still got to write to it. So then we're going to write to it, and then we always need to close our files, and that's it. Basically, we're done. So let's test it out, and we're going to try a couple variations of this. And so let me just go ahead and run it normally. And let's see if we can create a couple different. Let's do adventurer, and oh, that's just lovely. Let's try saving that, and we'll put I'm just going to go to downloads. I'm going to call my, and then I can put in here, adventurer avatar. I save it. Let's go into the downloads folder, my adventure avatar, double click. Okay, now we have a problem. Okay, so we actually don't have the file. We're still saving the root file, so we need to figure out what happened there. So we're going to find that self.avatar. That's the first thing we want to do. Avatar. Oh gosh, was this the one? Avatar, save avatar, avatar, SVG. Okay, so we need to look at wherever we create it. Code.selfAvatar equals controller get file contents. And that is on the set default avatar. Okay. So we need to find out when else we're getting file contents. So that would probably be in get avatar. We have that new SVG, all right, controller.getAvatar. And if that is not an SVG, all right, well, let's go ahead and let's save self.avatar SVG to the new SVG. And now let's see if that fixes it. So I'm going to go ahead and run it. I'm going to run it sometime today. Do I have an error? Oh, it's still running right now. So let's go ahead and close it. Oops, I have two of them open. One is my other file, so let's go ahead and close that. All right, and here we go. Let's do Lorelei, save avatar, and we'll go back to the downloads. Let's just give it the standard myavatar.svg and replace it. Now we'll go open up the downloads, myavatar.svg. Great. Let's just double check while we're at it. Let's do an identicon, and we'll give it identicon. I'm going to click Give it avatar, save avatar, downloads, my avatar, replace, go into the folder, my avatar SVG. Great, we got it. All right, seems like everything is working. And then, of course, when we got our app over here, we can click clear. So we got get avatar, and we'll call Freddy. Click get avatar, save avatar, downloads, avatar. We'll call it the Freddy avatar. I'm going to click save without giving it the SVG and see if it still works. Go here, Freddy avatar still works. Got it. All right. So there's kind of like one last thing I want to do. And first of all, one of the last things could be that I could get someone to test it out and do some refinement and try that. But ultimately, that is something you could probably do now that if you followed along and done what I've done. But instead, I need to do my Git. So I'm going to do a Git status. And I can see I've got the icon generator.app.py, and then my avatar.svg got changed. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to go ahead and save it. So I'm going to do a Git add star, Git commit -m, and finalizing my app. And then I'm going to do, this would be a good time to add a release. That could be like a version 1.0 release, and you could do all that stuff. But that's not what this video tutorial is about. So basically, we're done. So I got a little bit of time left, and I just want to give a little preview for my next video series. I think you're going to like it. Hey everybody, I'm really excited to share with you my up-and-coming video series, the Semi-Complete Guide to PyQt6 Widgets and Layouts. As you can see from my little PyQt6 widget here, we could do a lot of customization. Now, in my last tutorial series I've been going through, I spent a lot of time digging around, going from website to website, Stack Overflow to PythonGUIs.com to the Qt, all kinds of things. I was trying to help out my students, and I began clearly realizing that there is a lot of information out there, but all in different areas. So I wanted to bring it all together in a video series that will hit all the main layouts, all the main widgets, how to customize your widgets. And with this new series coming up, I also have a companion GitHub repository over here, the Guide to PyQt6. In it, I will have a group of various layouts and widgets with starter code that you can look at and get started on. I will show you how this works, how to customize and get the widgets to do things, how to program it. And there's also going to be a set of solutions for all the problems. And each video will end with a challenge to give you some way that you can take the concept and build off of it and make something new. Stay tuned for that series, or just check out my GitHub repository. I will be building that as I go on my video series. So looking forward to that. And I will hopefully see you. Well, I won't see you, but you can see me on YouTube near you.